The mysterious new discovery in 2025. For centuries, the sands of Egypt have concealed more secrets than they have revealed. The Great Pyramid of Giza, an ancient enigma standing defiant against time, has long been the subject of speculation, theories, and relentless exploration. Yet, in the year 2025, a discovery emerged from beneath its foundations, one so extraordinary that it threatened to reshape history itself. Dr. Omar Al-Fayed, a seasoned Egyptian archaeologist with a reputation for unearthing lost relics, stood at the heart of the revelation. His team, working in coordination with an international research body, had been using advanced ground-penetrating radar to scan beneath the pyramid. Initially, they sought to confirm the existence of long-theorized hidden chambers. What they found instead was something that defied all historical records, an underground cavity far larger than any known burial chamber, its walls lined with materials that did not match the surrounding bedrock. The first images relayed back to their monitors showed anomalies, smooth, symmetrical structures where only rough, natural limestone should have been. The chamber stretched deep beneath the pyramid, far beyond any mapped tunnel system. Al-Fayed's breath caught in his throat. His hands trembled over the keyboard as he adjusted the resolution. This was no ordinary void. It was something intentionally built and hidden for thousands of years. News of the discovery spread through the archaeological community like wildfire. Some dismissed it as an illusion created by faulty equipment, while others, including Dr. Evelyn Carter, a respected historian specializing in ancient Egyptian engineering, believed it could be a breakthrough on par with Howard Carter's discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb. "If these scans are accurate," she said in a televised interview, "we may be looking at an untouched relic from an age even older than the pyramids themselves." But while excitement surged among scholars, an unsettling silence came from the Egyptian Antiquities Authority. Government officials refused to acknowledge the discovery, dodging questions from the press. Their reluctance only fueled speculation. What had been found beneath the pyramid that warranted secrecy? Despite mounting pressure, Al-Fayed and his team were granted permission to conduct a preliminary exploration. As they prepared to descend, an unease settled over them. Centuries of excavation in Egypt had uncovered countless tombs, treasures, and artifacts, but never before had they faced a discovery so deliberately concealed. What lay beneath the Great Pyramid? And why had it remained untouched for so long? As the team gathered at the excavation site under the shadow of the ancient monument, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the desert. Al-Fayed's mind raced with possibilities. Was this a lost burial chamber? A hidden archive of forgotten knowledge? Or something far more mysterious? No one had answers, but one truth was undeniable. History was about to be rewritten. To be continued. Descent into the unknown. The air beneath the Great Pyramid was thick, untouched for millennia. Dr. Omar Al-Fayed steadied his breath as his team descended into the newly revealed passage. The entrance had been sealed with an unnatural precision, smooth slabs of stone fitted so seamlessly that they seemed to repel time itself. Now, as they breached its threshold, a slow, creeping unease settled over the expedition. Dr. Evelyn Carter, adjusting the light on her helmet, whispered, "It's too perfect." Her voice barely echoed in the narrow passageway. Unlike other tombs, where erosion and collapse were common, this tunnel was eerily intact, as though it had been waiting. The deeper they moved, the more unnatural it felt. The limestone walls, usually rough-hewn and marked by toolwork, were polished smooth, their surfaces covered in symbols no one immediately recognized. Al-Fayed ran his gloved fingers over them, tracing their unfamiliar curves. "Not hieroglyphs," he murmured. "Something older." Behind him, Amir Khaled, the team's structural engineer, checked the air quality monitor clipped to his vest. "Oxygen levels are stable," he reported. "No signs of toxic gases." He paused, then added, "But something about this place feels wrong." The tunnel sloped downward at an unnatural angle. Their boots crunched over a fine layer of undisturbed dust, a testament to how long the space had remained hidden. At the far end of the passage, a doorway emerged, its archway too precisely carved, its edges sharp despite the weight of centuries pressing above it. The team hesitated. Dr. Carter turned to Al-Fayed. "It's your call." He exhaled, nodded, and stepped forward. With careful precision, he pressed his palm against the door's surface. To everyone's shock, it gave way with a whispering sigh, revealing the chamber beyond. The room was vast, its ceiling stretching impossibly high for an underground structure. But what caught their breath was the centerpiece, a monolithic sarcophagus, unlike anything recorded in Egyptology. It was not stone nor gold, but a material that shimmered under their flashlights, absorbing rather than reflecting light. Al-Fayed's pulse quickened. This isn't from any dynasty we know. Dr. Carter circled the structure, running her scanner over its surface. The readings made no sense. The composition isn't limestone, not granite. It's something else entirely. Then, Amir's voice cut through the silence. There's something written here. They gathered as he wiped away centuries of dust. The inscription was minimal. No royal cartouche, no dedication to gods, just a single, chilling phrase, translated roughly from the unknown script. The guardian must not be awakened. The chamber seemed to press in around them, the air thick with something unspoken. No one moved. No one spoke. And then, from the depths of the sarcophagus, something shifted. To be continued. The forbidden tomb. A hush fell over the chamber. The dust they had stirred in their descent hung motionless in the air, as if even time hesitated to proceed. Dr. Omar Al-Fayed's fingers hovered just above the cryptic inscription. The guardian must not be awakened. The weight of the warning pressed against him, yet he could not turn back now. Amir Khaled swallowed hard. That wasn't the stone settling, was it? His voice barely carried in the cavernous space. Dr. Evelyn Carter steadied her breathing, her mind racing through possibilities. It could be a secondary chamber shifting due to our presence, she suggested, though doubt edged her words. Al-Fayed straightened. We document everything. No sudden movements. He gestured for the camera operator, who was already trembling behind the lens. Keep recording. Slowly, he ran his hand along the edge of the sarcophagus. It was cool, too cool for something buried in the desert's depths. Unlike anything he had ever touched, the surface neither reflected nor absorbed the light. It seemed to drink it in, pulsating subtly under his fingertips. Dr. Carter knelt, brushing away more dust near the base. There's no seam, no lid. She looked up, her brow furrowed. How was this even sealed? Then, without warning, the room trembled. Not violently, not like an earthquake, but a deep, resonating vibration, one that seemed to hum from within the sarcophagus itself. The team froze. Amir stepped back, his breath quickening. Professor, I don't think we should be here. Al-Fayed ignored him, his curiosity overpowering his fear. He placed both hands firmly on the surface, pressing against it. The moment his palms met the material, the chamber fell silent again, unnaturally so. Even the distant, steady drip of condensation had ceased. Then, the lid began to move. Not sliding, nor lifting, but dissolving. The solid form fractured into thin, glowing threads, unraveling into the air like embers caught in the wind. Inside, there was no body. No golden burial mask, no remnants of linen wrappings. Instead, resting in the hollow was something wholly unexpected, a figure of metal. Sleek, humanoid, yet unmistakably ancient, the construct lay with its arms crossed over its chest. Its surface was covered in the same script that had warned them at the entrance. Yet, despite the millennia of entombment, it looked uncorroded. Preserved. Waiting. Dr. Carter whispered, "This isn't possible." Then, as if answering her, the figure's fingers twitched. The team stumbled backward. Cameras shook. Their breath caught in their throats. Amir's voice cracked, barely above a whisper. "It's awake." And then, for the first time in thousands of years, it opened its eyes. To be continued. The cover-up and unanswered questions. The chamber erupted into chaos. Dr. Omar Al-Fayed stumbled backward, his pulse hammering as the metallic figure shifted. Its eyes, dark, depthless voids, fixed upon them with an unnatural awareness. Amir Khaled gasped, clutching at the wall, while Dr. Evelyn Carter, ever the skeptic, fought to rationalize the impossible. And then, just as suddenly as it had moved, it stopped. The figure remained motionless, its gaze unblinking. A terrible silence filled the chamber, the kind that suffocates before a storm. No one dared breathe. Then, a deafening roar filled the space, not from the entity, but from above. The ground trembled as dust rained down from the ceiling. The team exchanged panicked glances. Someone, or something, had triggered a reaction. "Back up!" Al-Fayed shouted, grabbing Carter's arm and pulling her toward the entrance. Amir fumbled with the camera, still recording despite his shaking hands. But before they could reach the tunnel, a wave of searing white light surged from the sarcophagus, flooding the chamber like a rising tide. And then, darkness. When Al-Fayed awoke, he was no longer beneath the pyramid. The chamber was gone. The light, the entity, all of it. He blinked against the harsh glare of floodlights, his ears ringing. Slowly, the world came into focus, a makeshift medical tent, the smell of antiseptic, the murmurs of voices in hurried Arabic. Nearby, Carter and Amir sat in silence, their faces pale. A man in a dark suit loomed over them. Egyptian military insignia gleamed on his chest, but his presence radiated something far colder than authority. "You were found unconscious near the northern base of the pyramid," he said, his voice devoid of warmth. "No evidence of an underground chamber. No recordings. No excavation permits on record." Al-Fayed's breath caught. "That's a lie." The man's expression did not waver. "What you claim to have seen does not exist." Carter sat forward. "Our footage." "Confiscated," the officer interrupted. "For national security." He studied them for a long moment, then leaned in. "Forget this discovery. For your own good." Amir shook his head, his voice barely above a whisper. "But we saw it." The man's gaze hardened. "And now you didn't." With that, he turned and left. For several minutes, no one spoke. The weight of the moment settled over them, not just fear, but the realization that something far greater than archaeology had been at play. Finally, Al-Fayed exhaled. "They buried it again." Carter met his gaze. "Then we dig deeper." The truth had been buried once before. And now, it had been buried again. But some secrets refused to stay hidden forever. Beneath the sands of Egypt, something ancient still watches, still waits, and one day it will rise again.